review of Avengers Endgame. So first a little summary of the movie, and then into my various reactions to the layers that unfold. The movie actually picked up from Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, showing us where Hawkeye ended up. This sets the tone that Earth and the rest of the universe is trying to cope with grief and survivor's guilt. In a matter of weeks, after the events of Infinity War, the heroes quickly locate Thanos and kill him. And then they move the setting 5 years into the future, which helps with various actors who have aged along the way, no longer having to go into extensive makeup to look younger than they actually are. Ant-Man comes up with a scheme to use time travel to go back and prevent Thanos from assembling the Infinity Stones that comprise his gauntlet. This allows the directors to cleverly use themes and settings from various past Marvel movies as problems for our heroes to solve. And incidentally, they fulfill some corporate requirements to induce people to want to watch all those previous Marvel movies. Once the time travel adventures have completed, old Thanos manages to find his way from 2014 to 2019, and this time he brings the army he used in both Avengers 1 and Infinity War to finish the Earth heroes off once and for all. Now, for my thoughts on a variety of elements of the movie. Some people complained about the presence of Thanos in this movie as being somewhat lesser than how he was in Avengers Infinity War, but I think they were being consistent. Thanos, as expressed in the first Avengers and the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, was a cold conqueror who didn't have all the answers, but had matchless ambition. He was an expert at conquering civilizations, and he was very good at what he did. But the wisdom and compassion that he displayed in Infinity War was after achieving various degrees of godhood. He was able to empathize with Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, Gamora, and even Nebula. Watch his expression as he tortures her in Infinity War. This was not the Thanos alerted in Endgame to time-traveling heroes. For fans of the Captain Marvel movie, they will be surprised to see she gets really short shrift in Endgame. She always seems to be off doing more important missions rather than helping out against Thanos and his conquering minions. Personality-wise, Brie Larson plays Captain Marvel as a man, or even more so, as a humorless alien unused to real emotions. We get a smile or two from her during this movie, but she has all the joy and passion of a Hoover vacuum cleaner in this movie. When she shows up in the final battle to smash the starship of Thanos, it wasn't anything that Thor or the Incredible Hulk couldn't have pulled off. She didn't add anything to the movie, and this may have been a conscious decision by the filmmakers to limit her presence. I'm not sure why. Her movie made around $1 billion for Marvel, but for whatever reason, they decided to keep her on the back burner in this one. For people like me that haven't seen Captain Marvel, we couldn't have been happier not to see her shoved in here as doing the final blow against Thanos, because that allowed us to focus on more important characters, people like Hawkeye and Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow. These two were allowed to resume their story, which was created from scratch in the original Avengers. There was no real such romance or work romance between Hawkeye and the Black Widow in the Marvel comic books. So it was something that the actors were able to run with. What was important in the original Avengers was these were regular people caught up in the struggle of powerful aliens, gods, and superhumans. And they continued this journey in Endgame, as their quest for an Infinity Gem leads them into new territory. Kind of nice to see the identity of the Stonekeeper revealed on Vormir, as his face and accent is revealed to fans who couldn't figure out his identity from Infinity War. As we see Hawkeye and the Scarlet Witch debate which is going to prevail in this final quest, I was struck by how bad this made Captain Marvel appear. The Black Widow had more humanity, feeling, and drive without any fancy powers than Carol Danvers could muster. Being a human Roman candle, as Captain Marvel was in this movie, might impress dull people who have never seen computer graphics before, but Brie Larson, the actress, couldn't hold a candle to Scarlett Johansson's portrayal of the conflicted Russian agent Natasha Romanoff in this movie. I think the effect wasn't lost on the general audience either. Captain Marvel was simply given powers by accident, and she expected everyone to be impressed simply by her showing up. The Black Widow makes it clear that, being a superhero is basically like heroism with a condom on. There's no risk involved. And you have someone like Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, who just accidentally got her powers, and someone like the Black Widow, who shows that powers aren't everything, and being a superhero means sometimes sacrificing yourself to help others. And she managed all this without the ceaseless lecturing of Captain Marvel and actress Brie Larson. A nice close for Hawkeye and his Marvel work wife. As a fan of Captain America's Civil War movie, I was pleased to see Endgame pick up the themes that weren't really settled there. And they even managed to tie this movie into the central conflict between Iron Man and Captain America from the first Avengers movie. In that movie, Stark joked about just cutting the wire when Rogers asked him if he'd take the sacrifice for the team. In Endgame, Stark's own father reminded him of what it takes to really be a hero. Whether he needed that at this late juncture, I don't think so. Stark found fulfillment with his new daughter and family to take care for. He knew what the stakes were. When the big moment came, the one Doctor Strange hoped for in the previous movie, Tony Stark proved that he could be a hero in the Captain America mold. A minor distinction, but it made the movie transcend its limitations. Endgame became a statement on their previous outings, giving meaning to previous blockbuster movies that really didn't have any deep message, and they tied it all together in a satisfying way. I can imagine some people didn't think this movie had good pacing, being 3 hours long. I thought it was important that the movie took the time to show us scenes between Ant-Man and his teenage daughter, the same for Tony Stark and his 4-year-old daughter. It brought home to me the stakes involved in fixing Thanos' finger snap from Infinity War. If you bring everything back to the way it was, what happens to the people who were born since that time? As Doc Brown would say from Back to the Future, erased from existence. This added suspense and drama to Endgame in the decision where Bruce Banner decides to pursue time travel and Tony Stark provides the necessary equations. There was a very real danger of not simply losing to Thanos, but of Tony Stark losing his new daughter as well, if they started monkeying around with the timeline. I was a bit disappointed in the battle arena outside Avengers Mansion for the final battle. They were fighting alongside the water, and you would expect everyone to be caked in mud, slipping and sliding around. It would have added an element of realism to all the CGI. Instead, they fought it out on easily deformable, computer-based rocky ground, rather like a Minecraft session than something that was a real setting. Still, it was great to see everyone get to show their strengths in the final battle. So I'm an enthusiastic supporter of this movie and the close to the original Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was a fitting endgame indeed. Signing out for Infinite Hedron Reviews.